We are coming to you from Kenyans.co.ke, and today we are having a conversation with Dr. Josephine Kulea, who has been at the center of liberating girls in Samburu County from unhealthy cultural practices. Daktari, you have done immense work in spearheading education for young girls in your community. And now we are seeing a new version of you that is now gelling into politics.
Yes.
What has informed this decision?
Yes, as you've mentioned, I want to run for the Samburu County Women Rep position in a party called the APK, and this decision has been informed by my work, basically, because the work that I do should be done by the government. And when I say government, it's leaders that we elect to go and do things for the communities. For example, Marvin, female genital mutilation is illegal in this country.
Yes.
It's been illegal for years, but it's still happening in Samburu County. Actually, as we sit here, it's 86% in Samburu County. But all our elected leaders, nobody, not even one, can dare stand and say, let's stop FGM because it's harmful to the children or to the girls, because the vote is more important to them than telling the community the truth. Children as young as 8, 9, 10-year-olds are getting married and no leader is talking about it. So those are the things I want to come and address.
Wow.
Because we cannot have the law and the people who are passing laws are not talking about the same thing and coming to tell the community that this is wrong. Because I don't understand how you sit in parliament, pass a law and come to the community and be silent about it. When the communities do what they're doing, some of them actually even support those harmful cultural practices. So for me, my priority is to try and solve all these harmful cultural practices, because we are a community that is highly traditional and we love our culture, but we have so many other beautiful culture except this part that is harming the girls. And the issue here is the community is lacking, it's ignorant, because if you look at Samburu, we are 83% illiterate.
Wow.
Yes.
So that means in every 100 people from Samburu County,
cannot read and write.
83 of them cannot read and write.
Yes, including our women representative in parliament, and that's why I want to send her home, because she's 70 years old, and for me, I feel we young people are ready to take up these positions.
It's time for young people.
Yeah, and they need to let us be, because they have had an opportunity, they have done nothing, and we want to show them that something can be done in those offices.
Wow. In your work and along this journey, you have earned very many accolades, dating way back from 2011, 2012?
Yes, 2011 actually. I remember because that's when I registered the Samburu Girls Foundation. I got the first award that was called Unsung Hero from the US Embassy. The Michael Ranabaga guy was the ambassador.
Yeah.
And from there they kept coming. It was followed by the late Kibaki, may he rest in peace, the head of state commendation, and they kept coming, the UN Person of the Year 2013. So they just kept coming.
Yali Fella.
Yali Fellow 2014, that's how Obama knew me.
Yeah.
2015, I got a champion for gender. Then 2016, I was the cover champion. So I got so many awards every other year until last year.
Oh, wow. Talking of hanging out with big boys, at one point you hosted Didier Drogba, who is a football legend in Africa and across the world. Apart from now the contribution to the foundation, have you had an interaction that would point you to politics when you're interacting with these big boys?
Talking about it, I have really not talked to them about me running for office. Maybe I should after this interview.
It's very necessary. Okay.
First of all, when I wanted to run for office, I had to convince a lot of people that I'm not living the good job that I'm doing, because everyone is like, oh, you're helping kids. Like you mentioned Didier Drogba, he's been supportive in educating those girls. There are so many others like Masai Ujiri, who is president of Toronto Raptors, the big NBA team that built for us a very beautiful basketball pitch. Actually, the best in Kenya is in Samburu, in our rescue center.
Okay.
So all these people who are my friends and they have been helping the organization, I've not even told them about the running for office, because for me, I think, not by not wanting to tell them, but I wanted first to, I'm one kind of a person, like if I have a dream, I want to go for it. And like the Samburu Girls Foundation, I was told when I was registering and starting off it won't last 6 months, you will be killed. I was threatened, all things, but we are 10 years strong now, almost 2,000
And
kids.
this was resistance that was coming even from your own family?
From family, relatives, friends, leaders, everyone.
Yeah.
So I told them, you know what, it is illegal, and that's my only safety net. You run away from me, I'll do this. And now girls have gone to school, they have graduated, others are working, and now families are like, oh, she was helping us. So now I want to use that platform to ensure that those girls are safe, not by being taken away from their families, but right from their mother's house.
Okay. Like
you're safe because the law in Kenya is protecting you. You're safe because your leaders know what you require. If it's school, we cannot be talking of 83% illiteracy in one community. If the school, the Education Act, law in Kenya says it's free and compulsory, especially the word compulsory. It's compulsory, but which leaders are telling their people to take kids to school? Why are our leaders not saying?
What I am getting from you is that there is a disconnect between the laws and their implementation in Samburu County.
Yes.
That's why you're now changing from asking for help to going for the help.
Implement those laws.
You want to be part of the people who are going to implement it.
Yes.
Wow. You've mentioned that you're a Yali fella, and you have also had a relationship with former US President Barack Obama. Are there lessons that you have picked from him that maybe you want to implement in your leadership endeavor?
Yes, I remember in 2014 when we went to the US for the 6 weeks leadership program, he was challenging us like we need to take up leadership positions and change things in Africa. And for me, by then I was stressing out. 2011, starting my organization, and 2014 was like 3 years old, so it was still a baby organization. So I was like, not now, maybe later. Politics, I first want to stabilize the organization and, do good. But then the challenges that I'm facing every day, the bigger ones are political related. Okay. So I wanted to break that myth and say, okay, you know what, I want to go to politics and talk about FGM and talk about child marriage, because politicians are not talking about it in my community because they think if they talk about it, they'll not be voted in. So for me, I want to go in there and bring a difference.
So these unhealthy cultural practices are that deeply rooted that if you identify with them, then you may actually stand a chance of losing more votes than gaining them.
Yes. Okay. That's what the people who've been in offices think, that if they talk about it, they will not be voted. But I want to prove them wrong, that you can teach your people about the law and tell them it is illegal. If you're caught, these are the implications. When you've informed someone, you've helped them. They say information is power. But when you leave an ignorant person to do something they don't know continuously, and sometimes you participate helping them, like you'd contribute to child bride, you're helping that family marry off a 10-year-old, it's sickening. So for me, I think it's time we stand up for the truth. I would rather lose the voice because of fighting for the truth, than lie to my people to win, and then I come and keep quiet just because I don't want them to put me away or to kick me out of the seat. So I want to stand for the truth.
Interesting. Kenya as a country in itself, if you look at the social structure, is patriarchal. Then now if we contextualize that in Samburu County, what is the place of men in the fight against FGM and these unhealthy cultural practices?
Interestingly, our men have been the most against for the longest because they didn't understand. They're like, if our women are going through, if we are going through circumcision, the women must go through FGM. but they didn't understand that those things are totally different. Even the anatomy itself, from the beginning, like things are different. What is happening to the men is not what is happening to the women. So we try to bring civic education, or create awareness about what is FGM, how is it affecting girls, why should it not be compared to the male circumcision, because they are totally different. And now, right now, as we speak, we have more male champions in Samburu County fighting FGM than female champions. Because I remember in one of our sittings, among several, the men were literally crying when we showed them pictures of what their children go through, because they didn't know. They didn't know what is being cut, they don't know. They just thought it's a small thing and that's it.
So at this moment, I want to ask,
Yes.
so the FGM here is done by fellow
Female.
women,
Fellow women. Yeah.
In absentia of the men.
Yeah.
That's why when you show them the photos, they
Get shocked.
Wow.
Yes. So for the men, they just hope or assume that the girl has gone through FGM. Sometimes they don't even confirm. So even if the girl is not cut, who would tell? So when we train the men, they say, okay, you talk to the women because they're the women who cut their fellow women. But when you talk to the women, they say, you talk to the men because they are the ones who force us to cut girls so that they marry them. They won't marry and cut girls. But now the challenge comes when we ask the men, have you checked your wife? And they all laugh because they haven't. So they don't even know if they have been cut or not. They don't know what a cut woman looks like and what an uncut woman looks like. So,
whoa.
Yeah, so I think at the end of the day, we win the debate because we tell them, okay, it is not important. And then we show them all the health effects. And by the end of the meeting, everyone agrees. And interestingly, last year, 2021 in March, they hosted the President Kenyatta, our men, our elders in Samburu, and they signed an MOU that now we know FGM is wrong. Now we will, we'll follow the law.
Wow.
So it's been a fight.
This is like a social dilemma from what I am seeing.
Yes.
You go to women, they push you to men. You go to men, they push you to the
Blame
women.
game.
It's a blame game. After all this has been spoken and you have interacted with these people, then we would ask ourselves, have you gotten a local support, a Kenyan support the way you get international support?
For the longest time, we've been enticing Kenyans to support a girl to go to school because, when we take in a kid, they've never been to school, we enroll them to preschool and work with them until they complete university or college. So it's a long-term investment and it's been very expensive. Okay. So we've been getting support from outsiders, as you say, but of late we've been getting a few Kenyans here and there, picking one girl or so or two to support to school, and we appreciate. We know, the burden in Kenya. Sometimes someone else has a lot of family and background, but I would encourage more Kenyans to take up children because it feels very nice to support someone to go to school, and then that person, because some of the girls we are helping as an organization are the now breadwinners in their families for those who've graduated. Some of them are the first ever to go to school just because of our work. So we feel like if we had more support, so many kids in that community would go to school, and in a few years, Samburu would be a better county.
This has been a long journey for you, and what are some of the milestones that you've celebrated that along the way you have been able to achieve?
So there's been so many success stories, like from our girls, literally from child brides to being students to being brilliant girls, excelling, moving from one level to another to colleges, graduating, and some of them now working. When I say some girls are working, not just any work, we have engineers, we have doctors, we have teachers, we have nurses. Wow. So we feel very proud because we try to also align them to courses that are needed in the community, and most of them have come back to work in Samburu because when you're from such a community and you've gone to school, jobs are available, and so they have no competition as for now. But our milestones have been large. We've been growing every other day, and well, interestingly, we even now have boys, because boys complete class 8, they go and become morons, they waste themselves, and they have very good grades. So but some boys have been coming to cry at our gate with the 380 marks, 390 marks.
380?
Yes, and
that's a qualification to national school.
They even repeat class 8 3 times. Some are total orphans. They have
with 380 marks?
Yes, they go back and repeat because they have nowhere to go. So we've been picking such boys and pushing them to high school, and I think we are soon becoming a boys and girls foundation because we have a good number of boys right now.
I'm so excited that you're sharing these insights with us. And now, even as we come close to the end of this interview, What is it that you would want to tell Kenyans, maybe about Samburu County in your endeavor, moving from rescuing girls and now transitioning to the decision-making table to be part of the people who are implementing what they have been missing to implement to take Samburu County to the next level? And possibly you can speak to this camera. This is your camera.
Yes, so I would like to tell Kenyans that this is a chance for us again to choose our leaders. And I remember the other day, I think it was Mother Karua who was speaking to Kenyans and said that let's stop thinking of the presidency as Kenyans, because we have people called governor, senator, women rep, MP and MCA. Those are our closest leaders, and those are the people who should do implementation of development job for the people. And so to my fellow Kenyans, for me, I'd like to advise that please elect a good MCA, elect a good MP, elect a good women rep, a good senator and a good governor. And good doesn't mean one who gives you 200 shillings during campaign or 100 shillings. Good, I mean someone who can deliver. They have a track record and they can deliver developmental projects, because in 5 years' time you'll still be crying if you chose a bad leader. But in a nutshell, for me, I'd say Samburu especially needs better leadership, because in the last 10 years we have almost had zero development. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Dr. Josephine Kulea, for your insight and for your time as well. And to my viewer, I have been your host, Marvin Gakonyi with Kenyan.co.ke. Keep it here for progressive conversation and transformative discussions.